Washington, D.C., I've got a fantasy. Oh, that I escape the me. The me I always thought I'd be. You escape the you. Scared to be a nobody. Oh, Washington, D.C.
Hello and welcome to our nation's capital, Washington, District of Columbia. My name is Josh Sepchek. I'm a licensed tour guide here in the District of Columbia. Today we're out here in front of our 32nd President's Memorial, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. All right, so before we head in, I'd just like to stop right out here in front. This is Franklin Delano Roosevelt, our 32nd president, as he was normally seen. Unfortunately, he was stricken with polio at a young age. He was the president the whole time in a wheelchair. About 75% of Americans did not know he was in a wheelchair until after he passed away. He himself asked the press to not take pictures and to not put that on the internet. So they respected that. We did put this in a couple years later. It shows so much. It shows no matter what's going on with you, no matter what's going on with your body, if you put your mind to it, you can do great things, like become the president of the United States of America. So one awesome thing about Franklin Delano Roosevelt, this is his own wheelchair. This is a kitchen chair with bicycle wheels and tricycle wheels. He made his own wheelchair. Awesome, as we're heading on in, I just want to let you know Franklin Delano Roosevelt was our only 4-term president. So we pretty much have a room for each one of those terms. So we're going to go room by room. This is more of a story than just a memorial. As we were in the first room, the year is now 1933. Unfortunately, we had a stock market crash in 1929, so we're getting into a depression. We need a new leader to step to the plate. Who steps to the plate? Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Great motivational speaker. There's so much in each one of these rooms, but I'd like to stop and talk about these two. We have a quote right here, his famous quote, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." And then this is probably my favorite part of any memorial here in the District of Columbia. You have an inaugural day parade. You have the drivers, you have the car, you have the people in the background, but everything is blurry. The only thing that's in focus is our new president, and that's because all eyes were on him. So as we're looking at these gorgeous dogs, this is a reminder Franklin Delano Roosevelt Memorial is the only memorial that you can legally walk your dog through here in the District of Columbia. All right, so we're in the second room, the second term. The year is now 1937. We're really in the Great Depression. One of the biggest reasons for the Great Depression, along with the stock market crash, we have a drought going on. So right here, we have the royal couple. They're sitting and standing outside their barn, their farm. No water, no crops. This was so bad that it was also known as a dust bowl. That dust was flying between states. All right, so in 1937, unfortunately, our unemployment rate skyrocketed. It got up to 25% at most at some points. So right here we have the bread line. 5 guys are standing outside of a door to a soup kitchen to get food for themselves and for their family. So one of the most important things Franklin Delano Roosevelt could have done was to keep the American people's spirits and hopes up. So right here we have a man leaning off the chair listening to the radio. He's listening to the fireside chats. So once every 3 or 4 months the president sat down in the White House, broadcasted to the American people, "Hey, I know what we're going through, but this is how I'm going to try to get us out of it." And he unveiled the New Deal program. So another major part of the second term, Franklin Delano Roosevelt unveiled the New Deal program. So if you remember those 3-letter acronyms, the CCC, Civilian Conservation Corps, the TVA, Tennessee Value Authority, the WPA, Works Progress Administration, just to name a few. But I like to think of this room as a photograph. So you have the 5 cylinders around us. These are the negatives before people got to work, back to work. And then just like Franklin Delano Roosevelt rolled out the New Deal program, we wrote out these cylinders onto the wall into the afterwards, the positives. It wasn't getting people back to work just for the money. It was getting people back to work for the spiritual and moral value as well. Okay, so we just walked into the third room. It's 1941. Pearl Harbor unfortunately gets bombed and we are thrown into World War II. So that's kind of how we made the design of this room. Right in front of us, we have a wall, and it looks like granite's missing. It's like a bomb went off in this wall. So granite's thrown all over the room in 3/4 and a half, slanted. Water, when the fountains are going, water's flowing out every which direction. So this is our president as he was normally seen during his presidency. Always had a cape or blanket of some sort covering his legs and or his wheelchair. Right next to him, his trusted companion, his dog, Fala. Alrighty, welcome to the fourth room, the fourth term. The year is now 1945. Our president gets elected to a fourth term, but unfortunately, just a couple months in, he dies of a cerebral hemorrhage. He does die in Warm Springs, Georgia, and he needs to get taken back home to Hyde Park, New York. So that's what we're looking at, his horseback carriage, but all these American people are right behind him. They're so sad. Hands are in their faces. They're looking down. This guy just got to do so much and unexpectedly passes away. Alrighty, we're out here in front of Eleanor Roosevelt. Now, she did not get a statue just because she was the first lady. We could have a whole tour just for her, but just to summarize in just a few seconds what she fought for. She fought for peace all her life, fought for human rights all her life. She was the first United States delegate to the United Nations, and she was the main driving force behind the Declaration of Human Rights for the United Nations. Speaking about peace, there's one really good quote that Franklin Delano Roosevelt says in this memorial, and he wants to end all the beginning of future wars.
Washington, D.C., hold out your arms to me. Oh, remind me that I'm home, home. Remind me you belong to me. Oh, Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., I've got a fantasy. Oh, that I escape the me. Always thought I'd be. You escaped the you. Scared to be a nobody. Oh, Washington, D.C. Take off your hat and tie. Step out of the public. Come home, yeah, you're home to me. Washington, D.C., Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C., you've had enough of me. Oh, you took me to the train, and watched it roll away with me. I trace you on the window pane. You say goodbye so stoically. Oh, Washington.